I would like to say a word about the Israeli negotiation or pre-negotiation with Syria. Syria is a very important and crucial part of the new Persian Empire. Iran invested billions of dollars to procure for Syria a very massive firepower. For us, it's very tempting to try and take Syria out of the orbit of Iran. The real chances for this are slim, exactly because of this reason. Ahmadinejad would not allow them to divorce after all these investments. But why should we try? There is at least one good reason. At first, it's worth trying, but there is one reason which people abroad are not so aware of. If there is a war with Syria, the Israeli leadership should look at the eyes of every soldier, every citizen in the homeland front that may suffer quite seriously, and tell them we didn't left one stone unturned in the attempt to prevent it. Only for this reason it's worthwhile. One short comment about Lebanon. What happened 2 weeks ago was actually the surrender of the democratically elected government of Lebanon. It's another victory to Iran. What annoys me is not only the incompetence or the lack of ability of the Western democracies to protect a government they want to support, but the responses after it. Secretary Rice explained that the agreement is a good thing. Javier Solana, the European Foreign Minister, praised it as a great victory. The response makes me very, very concerned and nervous. How the West facing the evil.
I want to move to another organization that is viewed often as an appendage of Iran, which is Hamas in Gaza. And since the violent coup in Gaza not long ago, there have been rockets withering on Israel from the Gaza Strip. I want to ask you, what hope is there for isolating the Shiite leadership in Iran, working with Sunni governments, particularly when we see the role that Iran has played with Hamas in Gaza?
In our analysis of the current situation, it's impossible to do an accurate and effective analysis without going back to President Bush's speech of June 24th, 2002. And in that speech, President Bush was very clear in laying out the conditions in which we all believed, the Palestinians ought to have a state. And the United States committed itself never to be engaged in an effort that would allow the Palestinians to build a state based on terror. And the focus at that point was very much on building institutions of a Palestinian state. And my real concern about this current process is that as we focus, again, all of our attention and our time and our energy on this shelf agreement, we are not spending time and attention and energy on building those institutions. I think it is wonderful that the Palestinians have been able to undertake law and order in some places like Jenin. But at the end of the day, it is going into those places, as Dennis has said to me numerous times, and ferreting out the terrorist cells. It is fighting terror that will be required in order to ensure that the security of the State of Israel survives, that the security of the State of Israel is intact. And I think that until we have a real effort to build the security institutions, the economic institutions, to end the incitement, and to allow the Palestinian people a voice, a true voice in electing the kind of government they deserve, which is not a Hamas government, that we are in fact engaged in a risky and a dangerous endeavor focusing on some sort of a political endgame.
Well, on this I have a conflict between my heart and my head. My heart wants to work out a viable two-state solution as part of a process where the parties can live at peace, and I want to do whatever it can to make that happen. My head says this can't work, because how does Abu Mazen make, if we're really talking about a final status agreement, which everyone knows cannot be implemented as long as Hamas is controlling Gaza, and no one can give me the time frame by which we will no longer have Hamas controlling Gaza, how does he make the compromises necessary to reach the deal? How does he deal with the right of return, the whole question of territory and issues like that, when it's going to sit on a shelf? That is not a context. And so the real question is, should we be recalibrating the strategy? I do think it's important to embolden and empower the forces that accept Israel and that want compromise in the context of that part of the world, the moderates in the Palestinian sphere. But building up the expectations of a final status agreement and what happens when that isn't achieved concerns me greatly.